From the downtown Phoenix headquarters of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, this is JMA-TV1 with Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Hi, this is Maricopa County, Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Welcome. This is our first show. We're trying to keep it under 5 minutes. We don't have teleprompters or anything else. We just shoot from the hip, tell you how we feel. The name of the show is, of course, is JMA-TV1. JMA-TV1. We would like your input. Let us know what you feel. You can even criticize us. Go through Twitter. We have a Twitter, The Real Sheriff Joe. So let's get on with the show and see if everything goes okay. We got right. Brian here, we got Lisa, and you got the sheriff.
We're from the PIO unit, that's the Public Information Unit, and as most of you know, most of us watching today would know that the Sheriff Arpaio and the goings-on in his office have been covered ad infinitum. For the last 18 years, since he's been the sheriff, we have organized probably well over 4,500 national and international interviews of the sheriff. That's just national and international. Locally, when you're talking about local media here in the Phoenix market, there's probably not a day that goes by that he's not in a headline someplace or on television somewhere. He is referred to as a media hog. He is referred to as a media whore. But there has always been a reason for it, and I've been with him for 18 years as his media director, and he came to me with a very specific instruction. It's an open-door policy, and I'm going to communicate to the people who voted for me through the media, the only way I can really effectively do so. So we've been covered ad infinitum, as I've said, but really the question today is, as we're talking about the media, is the media fair and impartial when it comes to the sheriff? Sheriff, what do you think?
Well, you know, it's a love-hate relationship, the old saying, when you deal with the media. I don't really use them, and I'm sure they don't use me, but it's a way to get the message out to the world, and this is going around the world. And
Why do they criticize you so much,
well,
though?
You know what?
Why do they call you all these names because you have such an open-door policy?
Well, first of all, I don't run a CIA operation. Let's get this. They call me you call me a kind of a tough
Nasty
name.
word, sorry.
But they call me a publicity hound.
Right.
You
That's
do
the
know
other
that.
thing. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what they really call me. You're a publicity hound.
Right.
Yet they all come to see me.
All right.
Everybody
okay.
comes to see me, but I'm the guy that's a publicity hound.
But is it fair and impartial? Because that's really what we're talking about today. Do you feel that in the 18 years, is it getting more fair or less fair? More impartial, less so?
Well, I think the media has changed somewhat. Then when I first came on, you have all these YouTubes, and the whole world can listen to you. People taking pictures of you on the street with telephones, and they release it around the world. I think it's changed in that regard. As far as the print media, I know they're fighting for their lives,
right?
With all this other high tech going on. So their main objective, really, as in past, is to make money. They have to survive. It is a business, the news media.
So do you think that makes them a bit more sensationalistic, perhaps? In order to sell more papers, they've got to be a little bit more flamboyant in what they say and cover?
Well, I have to say that in a way. I don't like to criticize them of business. On the other hand, I never see positive stories about me.
Right, Sheriff. And well, I was going to say, and hence the reason for this program, why we're doing this right now. We designed this program as an alternative method for us to get your information out. We understand that in the regular conventional media, we can't always do that. And I think this is a great way to get all that information out there. We can't always get everything that we want to get out there. Like you said, there is a new media. This is new media, and this is our attempt to get out to the people who don't get to see those things. We're going to live stream press conferences. We're going to live stream our shows here, and we'll let the public make the decision on the information that they feel that they should see, other than what, the local media thinks that they should see, or the national media.
Right, because local TV, I mean, understand, and for people watching us in our audience, that local TV, national TV, they've got certain ramifications and certain limits that they are self-imposed. They don't have a lot of time to cover complicated issues and people and so forth. They've got a very minimal amount of time to do that. And so our hope that with this live streaming these press conferences, that we can get the points that we feel are important to you and certainly important to us, and they don't end up on the editing floor.
That's right. And you know, for example, this week in the local paper, you know, I think the local paper does have more time, and they do have the availability to get a lot more of the information out there. But still, a lot of times, just in reading the headlines that are out there, I mean, I believe that sometimes they're trying to direct the reader into what the conclusion of that story should be. And I'm thinking specifically about Monday's story in which they said Sheriff Joe Arpaio's crime suppression operations have little effect, analysis shows. You know, that was the headline.
Right?
That's the headline, and it was really kind of contradictory to the rest of the story. I thought it was a good story, but I let the readers make the decision whether or not that's an effect. I think crime suppression operations have a big effect. Why do you think the media is talking about them so much?
Because the headline said they have little effect, and yet the article itself talked about the fact that we've arrested 1,000 people in these crime suppressions. And so the question is, well, is the arrest of 1,000 people really an ineffective crime sweep? And is that really for the newspaper to determine, predetermined by a headline, or is their job the job to put together the facts and then have the reader determine whether or not they think something that you're doing or we're doing is effective?
And I also think the sheriff said this a million times before. We're not just basing on the numbers of what we pick up in these 15 or so crime suppression operations. What about the deterrent? When we have these crime suppression operations, there's endless stories of texting trees and the network that people have to warn people that there's crime suppression operations going on. So again, I thought it was a decent story. I thought the story was fair, but I'm speaking more to the headlines. So how do you feel about that, Sheriff?
Get by to the media. You do know what they have press conferences, you have the television, and I might talk 30 minutes. They go back and they just edit and they pick up one sound bite.
Sure.
This is
Right.
pure.
Right.
We have a chance to tell our story.
Sure.
We're not editing anything.
And that's our point coming to you today. So we're going to do everything that we can. I know that this is the sheriff's directive. We try very hard to get along with media personnel, and most times I think that this office, under Sheriff Arpaio's direction, does very, very well at that. Sometimes, though, we're human beings. We get frustrated. They get frustrated. The media is a very, very demanding lot. But as an organization and under Arpaio's directive, we always try to act respectfully of the job that they have to do. But when they're not fair, we are going to call them on it. We're going to call them on it here on this program. We're going to call them on it on our website on Truth Behind the Headlines. And we certainly would like to invite all of you to weigh in on this issue. We have an online poll we'd like you to participate in today for our first broadcast, and that is, how do you feel the media covers Sheriff Arpaio? Whether you're here in Arizona or in Texas or elsewhere, if you're familiar with Arpaio and all that he's doing on illegal immigration and his jailhouse policies and so forth, how do you feel, or who do you feel does the best job covering him fairly and objectively? Is it CNN? Is it Fox News? Is it MSNBC? Or is it the printed media? Vote online, and we will report those the poll numbers back to you tomorrow on Twitter. Sheriff?
Well, thank you. This is the initial TV
We'll get
show.
better. We'll get better at
It's
it.
not a comedy hour.
Not this time.
But we'll get back with certain subjects, and I hope the people do tune in. And
We'll put the information
become
out there
more
and
educated.
let
Become
them do
more
what they want.
educated, and we're going to keep doing our job. We always have exciting programs going every week, so there won't be a shortage
That's right.
of stories, believe me.
Well, thanks for tuning in to our
Thank you.
premiere broadcast. We'll see you next week, Wednesdays at 1:30, every Wednesday here from JMA-TV Studio 1.